Have you ever felt like the whole world is just difficult? Like every path you walk is rough and full of stones, and you just wish you could pave it all over to make your journey smoother. It's a totally normal feeling, but I want to share a story with you today that might change how you see things. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a king who ruled over a vibrant and prosperous kingdom. He was a good king, but he rarely left the comfort of his palace. One day, he decided it was time to see the more remote parts of his country. He wanted to connect with his people and see how they lived. So he set off on a long journey, traveling for weeks through villages and towns he had only ever seen on maps. The trip was eye-opening. He saw the beauty of his land and the resilience of his subjects. But when he finally returned to the grand gates of his palace, he was exhausted and in a terrible mood. He stormed into the throne room, threw himself onto his throne, and roared for his attendants. He complained loudly that his feet were in agony. You see, it was the first time in his life he had walked such a long distance, and the roads were not like the smooth, polished marble floors of his home. They were rough, uneven, and covered in sharp stones. Furious and in pain, he came up with what he thought was a brilliant idea. He declared, "This is unacceptable. No one in my kingdom, especially not their king, should have to suffer like this. I hereby order every single road in this entire country to be covered with the finest leather." His ministers and servants were stunned into silence. The sheer scale of the order was mind-boggling. Covering every road, every path, every alleyway in the entire kingdom with leather. It would require the skins of countless thousands of cows. The cost would be astronomical, enough to drain the royal treasury completely. It was an impossible, impractical demand. But who would dare to question the king? The palace was filled with worried whispers. Everyone knew the plan was foolish, but they were too afraid to speak up. The king's word was law, after all. Just as the order was about to be officially proclaimed, a quiet voice cut through the tension. It belonged to one of the king's wisest and most trusted servants, a man known for his practical mind and gentle nature. He stepped forward, bowed deeply, and said, "Your Majesty, if I may be so bold, I have been thinking about your command." The king, still nursing his sore feet, glared at him. The servant continued, his voice steady despite the risk he was taking. "Why must you spend such an unnecessary amount of money and resources to cover the entire earth? There might be a much simpler, more effective solution." The king raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Go on," he grumbled. The servant took a breath and said, "Instead of trying to cover all the roads you might ever walk on, why not just cover your feet? We could take a small piece of leather, just enough to fit you, and craft something to protect your feet from the rough ground." The king was silent. He looked down at his painful feet, then at the servant's simple sandals. The idea was so simple, so logical, he couldn't believe he hadn't thought of it himself. A smile slowly spread across his face. He realized the wisdom in his servant's words. He agreed immediately and ordered the royal cobbler to create the very first pair of shoes for him. This simple story holds such a powerful lesson for all of us. So often, when we face difficulties or discomfort in life, our first instinct is to try and change the world around us. We want to change our boss, our partner, our circumstances, the very roads we walk on. We think that if we can just fix everything outside of ourselves, then we'll finally be happy and comfortable. But just like the king, trying to change the entire world to fit our needs is an impossible and exhausting task. The real solution, the more effective and powerful solution, is often much closer to home. It's about changing ourselves. Instead of trying to pave the whole world in leather, we can make shoes for our feet. This means developing our own inner strength, our resilience, our perspective. It's about changing our heart, not the world. When we cultivate kindness, patience, and understanding within ourselves, the rough, stony paths of life don't seem so daunting. We learn to walk them with grace and less pain. So, the next time you feel like the world is against you, remember the story of the king and his shoes. Ask yourself, am I trying to cover the whole world in leather, or can I simply make a pair of shoes for myself? The power to make your journey a happier one is right there within you. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, give this video a like and subscribe for more content that helps us navigate life a little better. See you next time.